Hey, everybody, come on in. Come on in. This is your girl, Crystal Jordan, or Crystal XO, as I go by on this channel. And I had a day in the pool today. So my hair is looking a little raggedy, but you guys have to excuse me for that. Um, it is 10 o'clock on Thursday, and this is not usually when I do pop culture power, but I just thought because I haven't done it in a while, like I said, I've been gone for a short while, actually, a long while with pop culture power. But I thought, let me come back today and just start it, and then we can get back on a regularly scheduled program after today. So if you are here for the first time for Pop Culture Power, welcome. Come on in and have a seat. As opposed to the other shows on this channel, which are mostly about relationships, Pop Culture Power is all about what's going on with pop culture headlines. As most of you that watch this channel know, I am a writer by trade. So basically, what I do is write about what's going on in either pop culture or the Black community or reality television. And so that is what I am talking about on Pop Culture Power. We're going to do conversations on all the latest articles that I write about for Collider. I am editor in chief. Hey, Marriott, editor in chief for Lennox and Parker, and I also am a features writer for Collider. And so with Collider, I get a chance to really get into some of the meaty topics that we see on social media. And so that's what we are doing today. Hey, Sunny Rain. So you guys that are our usual crowd, come on in, have a seat. Let me know that you're here because it's just me by myself for Pop Culture Power. So I don't have a co-host. So I need you guys to be my co-host, right? The audience can be my co-host for Pop Culture Power. But tonight's conversation is going to be good because we are talking about some things that have been trending in the headlines that I'm sure most of you have seen. If you watch reality TV or you have at any point in time, then you will definitely be familiar with some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight. So, hey, Joyce, I see that you got your chair. I see that you have your chair. Welcome, sis. Go on in and have a seat. Let me know that you are there. Make sure that you share this. And before you get settled, just go ahead and like this conversation so that this is really so that other people can go ahead and see it later. But I'm excited because one of the topics that I'm going to talk about, I did some research today, and so I have a lot to share. A few people on Wednesday night's broadcast were asking about it, and tonight we are going to get into it. But the first thing I want to talk about tonight um, is, first of all, reality TV has really taken over. And it's weird to me because for those of you who may not know, so I was a journalist initially, right? I was a writer and broadcast journalist in college. And then after having babies early and, getting married and having babies, I decided to do kind of fall back behind the scenes. So I have been a, celebrity publicist for since like 2006, right? So that was the majority of, my job, the bulk of my job. I did some writing, but most of it was working as a celebrity publicist. And one of the weird things that I've learned in that time, so the landscape was so different back then, right? Back then, there was still this line between celebrity who actually had talent and who actually did something that made them that they were famous for, as opposed to someone just coming on TV and showing their behind and becoming famous for that. And so I tend to kind of still, um, I'm like that old school. I come from the old school publicity world where, the true stars were people that actually had a talent, be it acting, be it singing, be it dancing. I mean, they did something to become famous as opposed to just being someone that has a bad attitude and people like it, like the fact that they bully other people, which is what I believe works on reality TV. I believe specifically if you are a Black woman, you are celebrated if you are able to be loud, over the top, make other people laugh at others' expense. That is the formula. Oh, and definitely make sure that you have some designer bags and some fake wealth to promote. And if you have all those things, then you're probably a celebrated reality star, right? But you can't rise to reality fame by actually just being a good person, or actually it doesn't really matter if you're talented. You know what I mean? It's not about talent, it's more about braggadocious behavior and, like I said, making fun of someone at other people's expense. So hey, Edna. So for that reason, I just had to give you guys that back story to understand why I feel the way I do, right? About my opinion. Pop culture power is purely opinion. So if you disagree, that's okay. It's quite okay to disagree. But I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, and then we could talk about it in the comments. So one of the first articles that I want to talk about that I did this over the last 2 weeks was I talked about Tia Mowry. Now, as most of you guys know, Tia Mowry is divorced, and she had a very public divorce. She was married for quite a, almost with her ex-husband Corey Hardwick for almost 20 years. So they were together a really long time, in Hollywood's terms, and they got divorced about 2 years ago. And so her life has been, she's kind of been letting fans in on her life over the last couple of years. She announced a divorce. We see her like stepping out, getting back into her sexuality, her sexuality, like being like, just a little bit more flirty than she's been in times past, and nothing's wrong with that. But she announced that she has a new reality show coming out, and I believe it's on whyyyy TV. And so I wrote an article titled 5 Reasons Tia Mowry's Next Act Could Be a Huge Mistake. 5 reasons Tia Mowry's next act could be a huge mistake. Now, this is why I think it could be a mistake, and you guys let me know if you agree or you disagree. The basis of my of what I'm saying is Tia is someone that is she's very talented. Her and her sister, actually their entire family, have been stars since they were television stars in our home since they were little. I remember my son and my daughter specifically was a huge sister fan. We were all, I mean, it was on in our house all the time. And you know, my husband, his daughters, they actually look alike, Tia and Tamera, the twins. Just great role models, Nickelodeon, Disney type kids, great career. And they've always carried themselves with a lot of respect, with a lot of decorum, which I definitely appreciate. As the little saying goes now, very demure, very mindful, very cutesy, very classy. That has been what people think when they think of Tia and Tamera. Unlike a lot of kids that grew up in front of the spotlight, they never had like anything scandalous happen. You never heard anything. I'm sure they're not perfect because they are human, but we've never heard anything negative about Tia or Tamera or even their brother Taj, right? It's always been they've always been celebrated for their work. Now they have allowed us to meet their families, and we know that Tamera was on The Real, and that just they've allowed us to know a little bit about their families, but for the most part, they're very private. They have been up until Tia's divorce. And I think that makes you think, if you are a producer in Hollywood and you want to cast Tia or Tamera, that it has to be something that's quality, right? Because these girls have grown up actually as actors, and working on projects that were definitely celebrated and were of substance. So flash forward to now, where we have Tia about to share her private life. In the description of her new reality show, which is titled Her Next Act, which basically just speaks to the fact that she's gone through a divorce, right? And she's a woman that has come into her own. She got married pretty young, And now she is, out there on the prowl, trying to figure out the dating world. Tia has been sharing some of that on her social media. So we see her like talking about dates that she's going on. And I really, when I heard that she was doing a reality show, I was like, I really wish she wouldn't have done that. It's not that I don't want her to be on television because I think she's a great, example. I just don't want her to play herself, right? Because I feel like she has such a level of respect. People look at her a certain way. And when I watched, there was a social media video that she posted about sitting across from a guy on a date that had like a gold tooth or something, or a grill. And she was trying to figure out if he was going to take it out to eat. And I just was like, girl, this is not what you want to share with your fans. Like we I don't want her to be. I feel like this is going to like cheapen the Tia and Tamera brand. I do. That could be my old school publicist background kicking in, but I just feel like you don't mess up the money. Don't mess up the money. You also don't mess up your brand. And I'm certain every woman who has gone through divorce, you kind of go through that situation where you want to cut your hair, you want to get in the gym, you want to do something to redefine yourself. I'm all for that. I think she should do that. I don't think she should do that in front of reality television cameras, because I feel like producers are probably salivating at the fact they get to take this girl that has like this woman rather that has a squeaky clean image, and they kind of get to muddle it, because that's really what reality TV does. It knocks you down a peg. It makes you more common. It gives your fans access to parts of you that really they don't need access to. I really don't think she should have done that. One of the points that I brought out in the article is this. Okay. So unlike a lot of child actors, I mean, you could obviously compare Tia and Tamera to like Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, right? Because they were both acting and they were very, very, very young when they started. But the difference with Tia and Tamera is that they were playing on a show using their actual names. So the audience really felt like on Full House, for those of you that remember, for those of you that, are here with me and remember Full House, that used to air on ABC, must-see TV, Friday night must-see TV, right? Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen played Baby Michelle. We didn't even really know their names until the character got really popular. And then we learned that Michelle was played by two different actresses that were twins named Mary-Kate and Ashley, right? So you didn't really connect with Michelle as Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. You looked at the show and the show was Michelle, the baby Michelle. And then later you learned, when they got a lot older and they were bigger, oh, that's Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Now, Tia and Tamera were on Sister to Sister, but with their names, right? So for a viewer, you really feel like you know them when you see them, because they're playing a character that has their own name. Kind of like Bernie Mac, right? When Bernie Mac played on his show, yes, it was based loosely on his life, and he was playing a character kind of, but really we just felt like we were seeing Bernie Mac, right? And so I think that's the same thing with Tia and Tamera, even though they were on a scripted show, Sister to Sister, with my girl Jackée. Shouts out to the one and only, the queen herself, Jackée. And Tim Reed, who I loved from WKRP in Cincinnati. And yes, I am dating myself, but that's what this channel is for. This channel is for all of those women out there that remember all the references that I'm throwing. You're catching all the references that I'm throwing. So I really liked the show, but really you felt like you knew Tia and Tamera. You felt like they were playing themselves. I'm sure their personalities are probably a little different than the roles that they played on the show. But for the most part, what the audience thought is that they really got to know these twins. Thank you, Popcorn526. I love WKRP in Cincinnati too. I used to sneak up late at night and watch it because my mom did not want me to watch it. And it really wasn't that bad. I love Lonnie Anderson's character. But anyway, back to Sister to Sister. I did watch their reality show. Sunny Rain asked, I watched their reality show they did together 2 years ago. I did, but it wasn't the beautiful thing about that show. And then also, I believe Tamera had a cooking show before. What's up, Mo? I thought you'd be in the bed by now. But one of the things that they showed on their show, it was really family, and it was really like not, you didn't really get a chance to get all off in their business, right? That's what I'm worried about, guys. I'm worried about us getting all off in, Tia's business, now that she's dating, because again, thinking that we knew them on the show, right? We felt like we got to know them because of the fact they were playing characters that were their same name. So the fans' belief about them is up here. And then when, you know, we see the fact that she's kind of struggling through this part, probably didn't understand what she was getting into when she got her divorce. Hopefully that was the best thing for her. But even like co-parenting and all that, it's a very, very, very difficult time period. And I just don't want her to share that with the world. And if she does share it, I hope that she has put boundaries in place to protect herself, because I feel like she's just much bigger than reality TV. So I don't want to dwell too long on that. I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments. Venus Folks 14K says, I believe Tia is trying to make money by trying different things, hair care, cooking, or short videos. Her TV roles may not be available for her age. That could be true. I would assume, just because of the fact that Tia and Tamera were huge stars, and we know that show runs in syndication. I can't believe that they would be, in a situation where she would need to do something for money. You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe with as many stations as Sister is on in syndication, and there's so, and they did it for so long, and they were on other shows and they other things. I would hope not. We don't know. We don't, never to count anyone's money. But I do remember working on a project with Corey, and he mentioned how, when he first met Tia and Tamera, how, different their life was than him, basically suggesting that they were very, very well off, which, I would assume, being children and being in the business from the time they were little, they probably have residuals upon residuals upon residuals. I do think that she may still want to be active, but I really just wish the reality show, if they do, if she does go through with this, I mean, this season is shot already. It's going to air pretty soon. It's going to premiere pretty soon. I just really hope there are boundaries in place, and I hope that she doesn't share too much. I don't think anyone, and I'll say this, I'll put this disclaimer out there. I don't think anyone who's going through a divorce should share too much of that journey publicly. Like, because trust me, you're going to go through some things that you may not want to share publicly. You may want to get yourself in a position where you are comfortable and you've gotten some sense of normalcy in your life before you share. I'm just saying. Yes, Tia is doing a reality TV show titled Tia's Next Act. And I don't think that she should do it. I don't think so. But, I'm rooting for Tia. I just really wish she didn't. Mocha Delight brings up a good point. Kim Fields did Real Housewives of Atlanta, and it was a disaster. It was a disaster because, first of all, Kim Fields is Black TV royalty, right? She is Penny. Well, no, she was not Penny, but she was the sister of Penny, right? The daughter of Penny, well, first of all, Penny was Janet Jackson, but Penny's mother was Kim Fields' mother. All right, let me get that right. Penny's mother on Jesus Christ, I just watched it. Penny's mother was Kim Fields' mom, right? Good Times. Jesus. On Good Times, her mom was Penny's mother, but also Kim Fields was on Facts of Life. That's what I was looking for. Facts of Life. And then she went on to one of my favorite shows in the world, Living Single, right? But in the meantime, Kim Fields had a bunch of different shows in between that, but those were just roles that Tootie on Facts of Life was everything. She guest starred on, you know, Different Strokes. She was just, she's a TV girl. So when she came to do Real Housewives of Atlanta, I was a little concerned. As the season wore on, I was extremely concerned. And it was a disaster. It was a disaster. She did not fit with those women. She's not, again, I go back to what I said when I opened this show. People on reality shows are on reality. The formula for success on reality is, specifically when it comes to Black women, right? We have to be snatched, materialistic, bully other women, loud and abrasive. And that's how you become successful. And she's not that way. Kim Fields actually is very classy, and she just was not a fit for Real Housewives of Atlanta, where you gotta show your behind and act a fool in order for the fans to love you. It just is not going to work. So I don't feel like Tia is that type of person. I feel like, you know, for reality shows, for people on reality shows, people love seeing them crash and burn. They love seeing them, you know, them go on dates with inappropriate people and it be uncomfortable. I don't want to see that. I'm sad that she got divorced. I want her to go do some movies, do some Hallmark movies, do whatever you need to do, and then pop out with a new situation when it's time, when it's right, and live your, you know, good girl life. There's nothing wrong with being a good girl. There's nothing wrong with that. And we're in a culture now that wants to peel the layers back off of everyone. And sometimes we don't need those layers pulled back. Leave those layers on. Leave them on, Tia. So I'm gonna talk about that another day, Danny, about Boz on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. That's interesting. That's for another day, because I'm definitely gonna talk about that here, because I was a huge fan of hers. She is very talented, very successful for something. I have no problem with women being on reality TV. My problem is the women that get on there and they are not known for anything other than being a bitch. That's the problem. So she definitely doesn't fit that. You know, she's definitely been a businesswoman. But anyway, you know, we'll talk about that at another time, girl. So, all right, my next topic for tonight, I'm going to go to 90 Day Fiance, because I'm going to just get some of this foolishness out the way before we get into this Jennifer Williams tea, okay? So, Angela Deems and Michael. I said Angela Deems and her Nigerian 30-year-old boyfriend, Michael. Yeah, so this is the thing. As you guys, I showed you there the pictures of Angela. Angela, when we first were introduced to her, is over on my left. And then the way Angela looks today, God help us, is on the right. Again, reality TV, Angela is one of the most talked about members on 90 Day Fiance, because she is loud. She is abrasive. She is over the top. She is delusional. All these things that make people enjoy watching the train wreck, but don't really want for their own lives. Seeing this country fried woman from Georgia claim she's in love with this Nigerian man that is 20 years her junior, right? It's foolishness. And her friends and family, she's got grandchildren. It's just been a big mess. You know, numerous seasons fast forwarded, and we see that first Michael and Angela tried to get married. They were not able to get married. Basically because I don't feel like Michael really wanted to get married, but he was milking her dry. She is dry at this point. But they've continued on. And yes, it does. She does seem very adjacent to the Honey Boo Boo family foolishness. It's that same brand of countrified Europeans, right? I'll say that. And that's no dig. It just is what it is. That's just a description. But this is my thing. So my article, and you guys can check all these articles are on collider.com. This article was Angela Deems' abusive behavior is excused because she is a woman. Now, I am the first person to say that obviously Michael has not been was yes, he's probably he's a scambae. That's the title we're going to give people that are into scamming over using romance to scam people, which is what I have titled Jennifer Williams' fiance. But even though he is a scambae, right? He came to America. They've gotten married. That does not negate the fact that Angela is just totally out of control. She's loud, she's rude, she insulted his family, she's insulted him, he's insulted her as well. But lady, woman, leave this man alone. This man does not want you. You have to know that. She's caught him cheating numerous times. And she goes after the woman. She tries to fight these young, beautiful African women, which is absolutely ridiculous. Everybody, because she would fly to Africa. If you guys haven't watched this show, if you have watched 90 Day Fiance, put a 1 in the chat so I can know who my people are out there that have watched this show. Because if so, you have seen the foolishness of Angela flying to Nigeria, wrapping herself in African garb and into the Nigerian custom dress. Thank you, Mocha. Wrapping herself in the custom Nigerian dress, attempting to merge or at least familiarize herself with his family and his friends. It is a hot mess, right? At the time that Michael saw her for the first time, she flew from some country rural town in Georgia to Nigeria, and he was like, she's bigger and older than I expected, and she was offended and yet stayed. And so the foolishness ensued, and they took us on this ridiculous journey. Now, Michael has cheated several times. Michael's family has said, we don't want this. We don't like this. I'm not going to do the accent. But it's hilarious the way his mother looks like, we don't want this. The father is like, she can't even give you a child. And Angela, through all of that, insists that she and Michael are supposed to be together. She insists that, there's something to their marriage and she will not leave it alone. So that is why I believe at this point, she is wrong, because what she's doing is on this last reunion. I don't know if you guys saw 90 Day Fiance. The cast tells it all, right? The African man did marry her, Sunny Ray. He married her. But he also is in a culture where they can have numerous wives. And she did not believe that. So when she got there and realized that he still did believe in having multiple wives, she's just always finding a way to scream and yell and be angry. And it's like, that takes a lot of energy. I don't see how she has that much energy, but she does it every time. So she'll scream, yell, call him everything but a child of God, and then go right back to him, right? I did a show on here probably last year about the whole like Mandingo stereotype. And that went over a lot of people's heads, but that's okay. But when you listen and watch this Caucasian woman talking about how she enjoyed being physical with him, and it was numerous times in a day, all this stuff, like it feels very like ick. It feels very ick. It feels very racially motivated. It feels like, I've tried everything else. I'm going to try, the Mandingo warrior. And then when you get whipped by it, you don't know what to do and you can't go back, and he really doesn't want you. So she's done surgery. She's tried to make herself look like what he would want, but it's not possible. It's just not possible. That's not for her. But my problem with Angela at this point is it's caused her to become rude and mean to everyone. So at this last reunion, she spit in his face. She's cursing him out. She tried to physically assault him. And, we talk a lot on this channel about accountability in women. And hold on real fast. Plug this phone in. I just want to say that this is an example of a woman needing to take accountability. So, she, if that had been a man spitting in a woman's face, The producers would not have allowed that. There's no way the producers would have allowed a man to walk up and spit in a woman's face. And let's make it worse. So it was a white woman spitting in a black man's face. That was accepted. Had it been a black man spitting in a white woman's face, the producer, he would have been in jail. He would have been in jail. So my thing is, has he cheated on her? Yes. But just because someone cheats on you does not mean give you a right to stalk them and spit in their face and do all the things that she's doing consistently. And she goes at other cast members. So anyone else that would say something like, well, Angela, maybe it's not, she attacks them. She just, at this point, she is mental. She's mental. I don't know if it was the African genitalia that did it to her. It could possibly be. I have not sampled any of that, nor do I want to, because I would not want to end up doing that. But she has definitely become unhinged. And my point in that article is that she is exhibiting behavior that would not be acceptable if it was the other way around. Right. So again, can you guys imagine and I would just say, even though Angela has had, some nips and some tucks, she's still a good sized woman. So if, a good sized black man walked up to a white woman and spit in her face, that would not be acceptable. You know what I mean? I think even if a white man spit in a black woman's face, it would not be acceptable. So the fact that she, is a white woman and acts so erratic, and her behavior, she was disrespectful to Sean Robinson, who hosted the reunion. She was disrespectful to the rest of the cast members. She's just disrespectful. And she also has consistently, we've seen her physically assault him on camera. No one says anything about it. She pushes him. It's just too much. And at this point, leave him alone. Now, Michael, for those of you that do not watch the show, I'm just going to give you a little bit of an update on how this got this bad. So she brings Michael, they get married. She brings Michael to Georgia, right? I haven't seen him in Atlanta, so they must be somewhere out in the sticks. But she brings him to Georgia. And of course, Michael is excited because now he's in the promised land. He's in the land of milk and honey. And he doesn't want to be with Angela. So he disappears. Now, Angela cannot find him. And so she calls the police and she suggests that he's been kidnapped. And she knows that man just left. She knows that man got on foot and ran and tried to, and been talking to other women on that dating app that translates, that they do on 90 Day Fiance. That app that you can talk into and that gives you the equivalent of their language. Michael been on there talking to all kinds of women. And so he left on foot, y'all. So Angela was mad. She was looking for him. He was gone. He was gone for 3 days and pops up in an interview with Entertainment Tonight. I am not making this up. I swear to you, it's all, you can verify all of it online. He pops up and does an interview with Entertainment Tonight. And he says that he was not kidnapped because Angela is out here suggesting that she's worried about him, but she was just trying to get some attention. He's not kidnapped. He just had to get away. Angela was assaulting him and he had to get away from her. Now, as Michael past would suggest, where did he go? To another woman. Yes, he did. And probably several women. But the point is, lady, let that young African man be free. You probably experienced something you had never even dreamed of, because I looked it up, and Angela's husband prior to Michael was a white man that was the same age as she is, right? So she went younger and she went black, which is wild. To do that all in one fell swoop is wild, but that's what she did. And I don't think she can handle it. Sometimes you got to know what you can handle and what you can't. And she obviously could not handle it. So, but Michael has moved on, and she's filed an annulment of their marriage. He is saying that he's not with someone else, but he kind of met someone else, this other woman that understands. It's a hot mess. And I'm sure whoever he's with, he's not really with, because Michael probably got 2 or 3 wives or intended wives back over in Nigeria. You guys know how that goes. So, point being, just because you've been jilted, a jilted lover has no right to spit in someone's face especially when the person's like, I would give you one spit, okay? If you find out the person's been cheating on you and you had no idea, and we find out with you on camera, I would give you one spit. But what you're not going to do, ma'am, is continue to do. Michael been cheating since the first season, okay? We are we are like 5 seasons in from then, from when we were first introduced to them. And Michael is not ever been serious about this relationship. He did wrap her in Nigerian garb. I would say that was wild to me. And his friends do know her, but it's also, he's on TV and he's getting away to go to America. So it really ain't about her. It's about the opportunity. And she knew that. Dee has asked, is he attractive? And I don't know how to answer that. I do not know how to answer that. I guess it would depend on what you consider attractive. But I will say, for Angela, Michael is attractive. For you, maybe not. So that's the best way I can say it, is yes for her, no for you, or anyone else in this chat. Yes, please Google them, because I'm telling you, it is a rabbit hole that is just waiting for you to dive in. It definitely, it will keep going. But Angela she has, become somewhat of a social media darling. You guys follow her page. It is absolutely outrageous. Like, it just look at what is happening in that picture. Look at that and know that is where she started. And I will say that picture actually is probably like 2.5 seasons in. When we first met Angela, that was not what it looked like. It was something totally different. Totally different. Totally different. So I would just say, check that out. But yes, if you meet someone, it's just like, for women out there, if you find out your man is cheating on you, everyone's going to be like, so, crying for you, sad for you, empathetic. But after the 4th or 5th year of consistent cheating and consistent behavior, we're going to handle you like Queen Charlotte and be like, sorrows, prayers, sorrows, prayers, sorrows, prayers. And keep it moving. You can't be spitting in people's face and punching them when this is the 18th season of cheating. Like, no, ma'am. So sorrows, prayers. That is what we say to people when the cheating has been happening consistently. I am sorry. I am praying, but I am also moving forward with my day. Okay. Now, second time, I'm gonna cry with you. We're gonna sisterly bond. You got me. We can have some Ben and Jerry's. We can, but hey, after the consistent behavior and time keeps going by, and you're gonna bring me a brand new cheat after he's been cheating consistently, it's just sorrows, prayers. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. So moving on to my next topic after Angela is some more Caucasian foolishness. Okay. More Caucasian foolishness. You guys know, if you watched the Pop Culture Powers from the past, I was a huge fan of the Golden Bachelor. Now, why was I a fan of the Golden Bachelor? Because I believe love is for all of us, right? Love is out there for people of any age. Love is out there after, when you're in your sunset years, when you're in your not necessarily at dawn, right? Because at dawn, you probably need to be focusing on yourself. But I believe that love is out there for all of us. So when the Bachelor Nation decided to open up the Bachelor and the Bachelorette, because we do know a Golden Bachelorette is coming this actually in the next couple of months. I was excited because I was like, yeah, like every Bachelor is not in his early 20s or barely 30. I mean, like, that's not even, he probably doesn't even know what he wants. Let's get a real man in there that has some experience. D said, is it golden because of that tan? Perhaps, perhaps, but that would be more like the orangish bachelor because Jerry was definitely tan. What's up, Tamasha? Yes, he was tanned, but I thought it was good because, like I said, Jerry was like 71, 72 years old. Wow. My godfather, adopted godfather that I met when I moved to Atlanta, and I just fell in love with him, and he kind of like adopted me. And he's like in his 80s, and he got married. And after his wife had passed, and it was the cutest little relationship. He was like, I love my first wife. I always will love her, but I'm lonely and I need companionship. And so he met another woman that he had known his whole life. And both their spouses had died, but they all knew each other and they ended up getting married. Adorable. I love it. I'm here for it. Right. If my mother wasn't so contrary, I would wish that she would get married, but my mom, it's not going to happen. But anyway, I was a fan of the Golden Bachelor. Now, I thought that Jerry was ready to settle down. However, if you watch this channel, you know that I always say age is not indicative of wisdom or maturity. Unfortunately, that rings true even in your 70s. Because if you guys watched the Golden Bachelor, right? Jerry's behavior was very much like most bachelors out there. His behavior, the only thing that was different is he was more empathetic, right? So most of the women, it was sweet, but it was also kind of like, ugh. Most of the women ended up crying over their dead husbands, right? He also cried over his wife that had passed on. Most of these people were claiming they hadn't really had a relationship since that, spouse that was the love of their life. Jerry cried. He called everybody his girl. He was so sweet to all of them. And when I tell y'all, he was playing them chicks the entire time, playing them like a fiddle. He was playing. So when he got ready to let go of the last three, one of them, he wouldn't even tell no that night. He just was like, I can't tell her no. And of course, you can't tell a woman no, you spent the night with her. She's probably thinking that it's going to be a yes. Well, he fumbled the ball so many times. And I thought, well, maybe Jerry's a sweet old man and he just doesn't know how to say no. Nope. Jerry was playing the whole time. Professional fiddler, professionally fiddling Tamasha because he was on that. And I gave him grace because he was older. And I've learned, as I learned to listen to my own words, that age is not an indicator of maturity, nor is it an indicator of your intent. So what we learned is that Jerry, not only was he playing the ladies on this show, he was a time waster. He also had a whole live-in girlfriend that he had had for 3 years after his wife passed. He also had dated several other women, and he came to the show with this tear-jerking story about not being able to love again after losing his wife and being afraid to get out there. And Jerry had a whole nother 3-year live-in relationship. All right. Now, if you're thinking, for those of you, I see a lot of wows, right? I see a lot of no. I see a lot of time waster, but it gets worse. It gets worse because not only was 71, 72-year-old Caucasian Jerry lying about the fact that he had been in relationship and had been in and out of relationships with several other women. Will you all believe that he was also embellishing his career? Yes. Much like Scambae, the Scambae of 90 Day Fiance and the Scambae that we're going to get to in a minute of Jennifer Williams. Jerry's profile listed him as a retired restaurateur. Okay, check this. Retired restaurateur. So that makes you think, oh, he had a successful restaurant. That was what he did with the bulk of his years. He retired from it, probably sold it for a bag, and now he is living in peace and prosperity, right? No, no. Jerry sold the fast food drive-through that he had. It was a burger. I think it was called Burger Quick or Quick Burger. He sold it in 1985. Jerry was on The Golden Bachelor in 2023. He sold it. Oh, we're gonna get to Christian and Jennifer. Please, please don't go anywhere, Casey. Please, 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 please. There's more. There's more to come. That is the bulk of this. We just got to get through all these to get to that. Jerry owned a quick burger that he sold in 1985, and he was a maintenance man. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Please don't, please, sorrow's prayers. Please don't come to me saying that I don't respect the blue collar worker, because I love the blue collar workers. However, what you will not do, sir, is say that you are a retired restaurateur living in peace and prosperity. And the reality is that he had odd jobs and was a maintenance man leading up to now. Okay. So throughout this time, Jerry, and I'm not gonna lie, Jerry was the perfect choice in that he was very charming. He knew how to say all the right things. He would look those women in the eyes and make them feel special, and you're my girl, you're my, and he said that to every single girl. It's almost like he was doing the forehead kiss. You guys know when the guy kisses you on the forehead, it's supposed to be like a sweet thing, but really that's just game. He was holding those women and watching them cry and saying that they were his girl. And Jerry had no intentions of being with them ladies. So when Jerry did pick his woman, I'm going to wrap this up. Jerry picked his woman, Teresa, who actually was age appropriate. Now, because I was concerned that Jerry was going to, I started feeling player vibes. And I felt like Jerry was going to go back and get one of the younger ladies, like in her late 60s, early 60s. I think the youngest person on there was like in their early 60s, right? I just knew Jerry was going to go get one of those, but he didn't. Teresa was in her 70s as well. They got married on like around New Year's. It was televised, beautiful wedding, very touching. And Jerry and Teresa announced that they were getting divorced within 4 months. Actually, I think it was 3. Yeah. I think it was an old. Yeah. So, needless to say, the Golden Bachelor went down in a blaze of glory. It all ended before the Golden Bachelor could even get started, right? They have taken one of Jerry's senior citizen ladies, and they have given her the title of the Golden Bachelorette. And, we'll see what happens with that. But I do want to reinforce the fact, never give a man a chance because he's older or less attractive or broke, right? Because what we're learning is that once a player, always a player, and that men will play even if they don't have anything to play with. Like they're not, don't ever settle for something that's not what you want, because at the end of the day, they're probably playing it in the game anyway, right? I know a lot of women probably were like, you know what? I would never date a 70-something-year-old man. But you know what? I would probably date Jerry because he keeps himself in good shape. He seems, he's probably living over there in peace and prosperity. Jerry was a maintenance man playing women left to right, like a fiddle. So again, ladies, I say the lesson here is that age is not an indicator of maturity, and never settle for what you want. Never settle for something that you don't want, because chances are they're not doing you any favors. And that's all I have to say about that. That's all I have to say about that. Moving forward to the story of the hour. All right, let's get into this. Jennifer Williams and Christian Gold. Christian Gold, who has changed his name from something else, from Christian something or other to Christian Gold. Christian Gold, who is 30 years old, who met Jennifer when she was 47 and he was 29. And I'm not against the age. No, again, age is not indicative of maturity. We just learned that. However, yes, Simone did her thing. Christian Walden, thank you, Casey Johnson. Christian Walden is changed his name to Christian Gold. Now, I would just want to say when I heard that his name was not really Gold, I knew all I needed to know. Also, when I knew that he was 29 going on 30 and was claiming to be a multimillionaire, I already knew everything I needed to know, right? Because as we know, I'm not saying that there aren't some outliers, right? There are some people that are doing their thing. There's a lot of young entrepreneurs out here that are really doing their thing and being very successful. And kudos to them. However, for men that manage stock portfolios, and you've been doing this since when I listened to his interview with Carlos King, he tried to sell us a bill of goods of the fact that he was doing all this corporate big time stuff at 19. And 10 years into that, you're a multimillionaire. I know a few multimillionaires. I'm sure you all do too. What I do know about multimillionaires is usually those are people that have tried and failed and tried and failed, or hit a lick and try. But they usually are people that have a strong work ethic. And the fact that he was on the reality show with Jennifer led me to believe that the work ethic for him is not as strong as the flex. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is what we're going to talk about tonight, the flex. When flexing goes wrong, which is almost every single time with reality TV. Now, before we get into young Christian, I want to say that we must turn our eyes and turn our attention to the 47-year-old, because at 29 years old, 29 is old enough to know what you're doing, right? Definitely old enough to know what you're doing. Definitely old enough to know right from wrong. However, at 47, sis, you should have settled into understanding discernment, settled into understanding what is a good situation and what is not. However, as I continue to tell people, when we are looking for the external and we are looking for a good look, we tend to overlook the things that are really important, right? I watched the interview with Carlos King, and shouts out to Carlos. He does an amazing job of making the guests feel very comfortable and then diving in and asking the questions that need to be asked. I'm going to say that it's far beyond Jennifer's picker being off. Venus Fox 14K said her picker is off. I think we're well beyond that. Let's go back for a little bit. Jennifer was married to Eric Williams, a basketball player, of course. And he, at the time that we met the two of them, we don't know anything about the relationship before they were introduced to us on Basketball Wives. Initially, this is back in the early 2000s when Basketball Wives first premiered. Jennifer's relationship with Eric, he was extremely disrespectful to her. I believe he threw some tequila in her face, if I'm not mistaken, because I remember thinking, okay. He was very disrespectful, right? Very disrespectful. Now, I just want to say, now at that point, that was like 12, 13 years ago. So maybe she didn't know. We also learned that she had been around she'd always been with ballers, and that's her brand, right? She says she does not do broke. So let's go on a ride. So Eric threw tequila in her face. He was disrespectful to her. And I want to say that there's no excuse to ever be disrespectful to a woman. However, many, many, many times in situations when women are getting into relationship with guys that are considered ballers, but professional athletes, right? A lot of times when the man finds out that the woman really is just there with him because of what he has, he tends to become a little resentful and he tends to be very disrespectful. I don't know if that's what happened. I'm speculating, but I'm speculating based on a lot of real things that have happened in real time, right? Um, so Jennifer is not doing broke and she's got to be with a guy that has money. And she's also very into the public image, right? She's one of those girls. She says she likes exclusive things. She has to be here, she has to be there. Now, I see Casey Johnson said her dad sold drugs, so she's used to not caring how the money was made. That may or may not be true. I definitely think that sounds like it could be true. But at 47, we have got to have used those life experiences that we have gone through, and they should have shown us where we need to be. We cannot still be relying on how we were raised because that was 30 plus years ago, right? So we've got to learn from some of these mistakes. So Jennifer dated one of the guys from Love and Hip Hop, New York, Cisco. Coincidentally, Cisco, he was dating a young girl on the show named Mariah. He was supposed to be managing her. Foolishness. He's actually a part of a group of men titled the Creep Squad. The Creep Squad consisted of Peter Guns. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go into Peter. Peter's so ridiculous. I'm not going to do that. Peter Guns, Benzino, and Cisco. Maybe Stevie J, but I think Stevie J might have been even beyond the Creep Squad. But she dated Cisco, who was in this Creep Squad, who was, I think, the definition of unserious. He is now claiming that he is in a relationship with Drea Kelly. Again, no comment. So Cisco, known for reality TV foolishness, not even really the star, because to me, if you're going to be a reality, if you say, you know what, I am with the reality foolishness, right? You're right. And Rich Dollar was in the Creep Squad. So the Creep Squad consisted of Rich Dollars, Peter Guns, Cisco, and on a good day, Benzino, on a bad day, not. And they were all under the tutelage of Stevie J. Under the tutelage of Stevie J. But still not able to do it at his level. Because to me, like I said, if you're going to be on a reality show, you're going to be ridiculous. Just go for the top, right? Stevie J, just do it. Just do it at that level. Don't do it at a lower level. If you're going to be an idiot, rock out with it. Like I want to feel it. Don't be a half-ass idiot, right? And I feel like that's what Cisco was, like kind of like a half-ass idiot. But Stevie is the full thing. Like he's gone in. He's living it. He's doing it now. He's on the beach with Diddy. He's doing it now. But no, going back to Jennifer. So Jennifer dated Cisco. Then we take a horrible turn, right? And Jennifer starts to date the grandson of the young lady that was that was on Sweetie Pies, right? So Jennifer is into guys that have money, right, and have clout, and have I guess some sense of notoriety, can make her look good, can take her to different places. So she started to date the grandson of Robbie on Sweetie Pies, named Tim. Tim obviously was on reality television, and he was, I think, like the manager of, thank you, Tamasha. He was the manager of Sweetie Pies. It was on television. Now, because it's very important to keep up with the reality TV style, the reality TV lifestyle, right? Tim must have realized that they were not frying enough chicken at Sweetie Pies to do that. So Tim was her son. Okay, I thought that was her grandson. Tim was her son. That's even worse. Sorrow's prayers to Miss Robbie. She did say she had no type. Jennifer did say she has no type, but she obviously has a type. The type is someone that has money, and it appears that she doesn't like guys that earn money the old-fashioned way, which is like to actually earn it. She wants someone that has fast money that can give her all the trinkets and do all the things, and it continues to turn into a horrible situation. This one she was actually very lucky because Tim had domestic violence charges before, and when he realized they were not frying enough chicken, he took out a life insurance policy on his nephew and had his nephew murdered. Did you guys hear that? He hired people to murder his nephew because so he could collect the insurance, and got caught. Unbelievable. I mean, like one of the most heartbreaking stories ever. But the fact that Jennifer, and what do you think? What do you think are all the commonalities between these men? This is why I'm saying it. It's because she is attracted to the lifestyle that is fake. All these men are trying to be something that they're really not. And she's saying she doesn't do broke, but it sounds like what she doesn't do is legit. Like it sounds like she doesn't do legit work. She needs a guy because guess what? If a guy works for his money, he doesn't want to spend it on a Birkin bag for you. If he really works for his money, he wants to make sure he's spending it on something he really wants. He's not just going to trick off with you for no reason. But when, as my grandfather would say, easy come, easy go. When a man has scammed or robbed or attempted to get his nephew's life insurance policy, then of course the money can come and go as you want, because it's not money that has any substance. There's no tie to it. He didn't earn it. It's scam money, right? So anyway, that was you. If you thought that was the worst, then keep listening, right? Well, that was the worst as far as like danger, because she could have really put herself in danger trying to be popping, trying to be the popping chick. She could have really gotten herself hurt. Thank God she did not, right? Tim is in jail where he should hopefully remain until he goes on to beyond. Sorrow's prayers to Miss Robbie. Now, the next situation, Jen gets with another guy who is supposed to be popping. And this guy is whining and dining her, taking her out, because really it's not about a good guy. It's really about the type of guy that can do this type of things for her that her ex-husband, who was a basketball player, could do. And the girls that she's around, she has to be able to keep up with the Joneses. You got to be able to keep up with Evelyn Lozada, who's going to keep a man with some money in pocket, right? And in order to do that, you've got to make sure that you're with somebody that is talking a big game and very flashy and very over the top. So she does, and she gets with this guy. And at the time, she has a Range Rover. I'm not sure if the Range Rover was paid off or not. I don't believe it was paid off, but she asked the guy, she was going out of town. She asked the guy to keep her Range Rover. The guy sells her Range Rover. She comes back, her truck is gone. And she went and you know, in telling this story of her being scammed, she did a reality show. She did a reality docuseries, which was, I believe, executive produced by Lala, if I'm not mistaken. And in this show, she talks about how she was scammed. And you guys may remember this. If you don't, you can go watch it. I believe it was on VH1. And I'm pulling up the title right here of the show, How I Got Scammed. Jesus help us. And so she, I don't know, she was talking to other women about being scammed. She shared her story. It was called My True Scam Story. I'm not making any of this up, guys. My True Scam Story with Jennifer Williams is on VH1. If you have Comcast On Demand, you can go back and watch it. She tells the whole story of how she was seeking justice after an ex-boyfriend who was a professional con artist sold her Range Rover truck. So another scam artist. And she went on, she was She was a victim. She was sad. She was trying to help other women. Oh my God. Things were so horrible. She came back on another season of Basketball Wives and she's booed up. She's booed up with a 29-year-old who has changed his last name to Gold and is supposed to be someone that manages money and stocks. Now, if anyone was even open to this and didn't know that this was a scam, I'm questioning your common sense as well. But it did not take long before some red flags were raised. So, Vanessa Ryder, shouts out to Vanessa Ryder. I interviewed her last season. It's actually on this channel. If you want to go back and watch it, she was did one season on Basketball Wives and then left. But she, while they were on the show together, she thought something was kind of funny about Christian. And so trying to stir up some mess or trying to help Jen or both, right? You got to try to do, prove your worth in reads on Basketball Wives. She actually pulled his background report, right? So Christian's background report proved that he had a domestic violence charge. And he was currently had this huge debt that he had to pay because he was out. He was restitution. He had to pay restitution for a crime he had committed years ago. She found all this information out. Most importantly, that he had been arrested. There had been domestic violence things going on in the past. So, for those of you that watched Carlos King's interview, I'll just quickly paraphrase through that. He talks about Carlos asked him about his domestic violence past. Christian sat next to Jennifer and basically lied and played in Carlos's face along with the rest of us, right? He attempted to scam all of us as he shared that the woman that he has children with, right, that he was in a relationship with, he was in an argument with her, and when she tried to leave, he told her, let's stay and work this out. According to Christian, he didn't hit her, he didn't push her, he didn't touch her, he didn't do anything to her. He just stood in front of the door and said, please don't leave, let's talk this out. After them going back and forth, arguing, according to him, no violence took place. He left, and the young lady jumped off the balcony and in an attempt to commit suicide and hurt herself, right? So she ended up in the hospital. Thank God she was okay. She did not, she was not successful, or maybe she, I don't know. This is all alleged, right? This is all his story. But according to him, he had nothing to do with that. He did not touch her. Now, for those of us that were born on a night, but not last night, we know that you're not going to get a kidnapping or false imprisonment charge and domestic violence if you have not touched the person at all. And also, I would assume that if the argument was that bad to where she felt, I just don't believe his version of the argument. It doesn't sound believable. And based on what we know about Christian, we're not going to believe it. Here on this channel, we're not going to believe it. So anyway, he explained that is what happened and that he owed this money in restitution, but he was going to pay it. Now, he and Jennifer are on the show together. Jennifer is more concerned about having a costly wedding that she wanted to spend $250,000 on, right? So she says, I literally watched this episode, and she says, well, we're going to need to have about, $500,000 because he has to pay $250,000. And of course, the wedding has to be $250,000. And I'm like, I know there's some women watching this who probably think that's cool, right? Who probably think spending $250,000 on a wedding is cool. That is the dumbest thing ever, especially for most of these weddings that do not last, right? So you spend $250,000. And Jennifer said she was not getting a prenup. Now, that's not even that we're not even we haven't even touched the surface because that was the past. Sorrows, prayers, prayers. Thank you, Venus, for Jennifer. But at this point, we're not empathetic because you girl, you stuck on stupid. So now we learn that Christian and Jennifer start doing a they sit down and talk to Carlos because they want to clear the air. They want Christian wants an opportunity to say that he is, this is not, he's not trying to, put this cost on Jennifer because at first some people don't know her past and they're feeling very sorry for her and they're thinking, oh, she got scammed. Nope. Nope. Come to find out, Christian, who used to do real estate or suggest that he used to do real estate, another scam in Atlanta, but we'll get into that on another day. He has scammed numerous people. His job, his moving money around, his money management has all been a scam. Shouts out to our good sis, Simone Redwine of Girl Is That Legal, right? I'm going to say she's of Girl Is That Legal more than Ready to Love because we met her on Ready to Love, but Simone is a real lawyer in real life. And I love the girlies that come with actual skills. When you actually have skills and you're intelligent, we're here. That's my kind of girl, right? Simone is that chick. So she is a lawyer. She's very, very, very good at what she does. She knows the law forwards, backwards, side to side, all of that. And she did a little digging with our good friend Vanessa. And it turns out that Christian has been running a glorified Ponzi scheme on all types of people. There were about 10 people on a call saying how Christian had taken their money, told them, well, first of all, offered to manage their money, offered to either teach them how to do day trading and stock trading, right? Or you could give him $2,500 and he would do it for you, right? Or you could take his master class, which I believe was around $10,000. Now, that sounds crazy to us because we're all here, right? Definitely please go watch Simone's video because these women, there are 8 to 10 women on here telling their stories. And what's so maddening about this is really like we're talking and this is entertainment, but it pissed me off because these are people's lives. There was a woman on there that had taken her pension after retiring and put it all into his scam, right? Christian Gold scam. There were other people that as a couple, the husbands and wives had gotten together and done that. Unbelievable. And thankfully, Simone is actually going to be representing these victims of Christian's crimes, right? And there's a court case coming up September 6th. You guys, please, we will be talking about it because this is just exactly what I'm talking about. We talk about women constantly being focused on men that got the bag and what this is the kind of BS that happens because all you want is someone that you can flex with. And this 29-year-old is flexing and taking advantage of people's livelihoods. And someone was like, well, Simone asked, where do you guys think the money went? Because all of these people are now out of their money. And there's thousands upon thousands of dollars that they have given him. And he has taken all of it and splurged on Instagram worthy videos with Jennifer. Buying scam puppies, like it's ridiculous. So I just, the article, that I wrote for Collider just suggests that this is not a coincidence. Jennifer continues ending up with scammers because like attracts like, right? And I don't, for whatever reason, she has a penchant for guys. She has that's her type shit. I don't know, but for you to continuously end up with these kind of men, either you're the dumbest chick out there, which I don't believe, or you're with the shits, which I do believe, right? You don't care as long as it makes you look good. As long as you can get that designer label to put on to go out in the flex, you don't care. But good sis, you are 48, 47, moving to 48. 50 is around the corner, right? And there's nothing wrong with 50 because we're all, I am touching it, reaching out and almost touching it. But the point is, at some point, you're going to have to play a different game because shortly, she said on Carlos that her looks will never fade. Girl, everyone's looks fade. And at that point, men that have that type of money, the men that really do, like the ball players, that's going to be out of your league because they're all going to be looking for a younger woman, right? So, and you've been around a little bit. Like everybody knows you, and it's not fresh, it's not new, it's not, it's not the new thing. So, what are we doing? And where are we going? And by this time, you should have figured this stuff out. So you could have got a good man who was real and who appreciated you, right? And maybe you could figure out how to appreciate yourself more than designer labels and being at an exclusive spot. If you're in an exclusive spot, but you're there with a whole scammer who's robbing people, like, girl, at this point, you could end up with charges as well. And this is not new because you were cool going out with someone who was so determined to live a fake lifestyle that he would have his nephew murdered for the insurance money. Like, what are we doing at 47? Like at 27, I'm having a different conversation with a young lady, right? Sis, little sis. All right, this is not it. And this is why, right? This is it. And this is why. At 47, girl, I'm not even giving you sorrows, prayers. Girl, you get what you deserve. You get what you get. Keep going. Keep doing it. A dude stole your freaking Range Rover. Stop. And when Carlos asked her, like, what was it about Christian that drew her to him? Because you're 47, he's 29. There's a lot of things y'all don't have in common because you're not the same generation. He is old enough. You're old enough to be his mom. Just saying. And you're old enough to be his mom. And she said that she likes good conversation. Now, I listened to Christian talk to Carlos, and I don't know what they were talking about that made her so attracted to him. I'm telling you what it was. It was the flashiness and the fact that when you look at his Instagram, it looks like a scammer's page. It is constantly. And the funny thing is, the ladies on the call with Simone, one of the young ladies said that she met Christian, and most of the other people on there that she brought to the table met Christian through network marketing, right? And I know there's a lot of people that do network marketing and are very successful. We're aware. There are also a lot of people that do network marketing that are scammers, right? My uncle used to do network marketing. I don't think he was a scammer. I hope he wasn't, but he actually is a business person. But I'm not saying that all network marketing people are scammers. But to me, when I see all the trappings, it's like a scammer starter kit, right? It's going to be labeled out. It's going to be super extravagant. And you're going to be wondering, where is this money coming from? Where is all this? But where is the money coming from? Because you got to be telling somebody something and making them believe. But these women, there's a woman on there who is now homeless. You guys listen to Simone's YouTube. There's a woman on there that is homeless because she believed and she gave all that she had to Christian, thinking that he was going to manage her money for her, thinking that he was going to take the money that she'd invested. And I believe that her friend came on and said, I think her total was 30,000. And to some people, that's not a lot of money, but to a person who is older and has left their job and is trying to figure out how, that is a good amount of money. That's definitely enough for you to do something else with. But for you to entrust that, people always want to make fun of people that, believe in stuff like that. Like, oh, they must have been stupid. But what I do know, because I've been around people that are scammers, they go over and above and beyond to make you feel comfortable. They go above and beyond to play on your vulnerabilities, right? They will figure out what it is about you, be it like losing a child or being alone or having an illness. And this woman had, like, they will figure out what your pressure points are and learn how to manipulate you based on that. So I don't always assume a person is just stupid. Some people just want to believe that life can get better for themselves. And how dare you take advantage of people like that? It is so sad because I think we're raising a generation of heartless people, because even for a 29-year-old to do that, to be doing this, and they said there are more victims. This was over 10 women or 10 people, but there are more coming. To take people's money that don't have it to give. This is not like a Robin Hood situation where you're robbing from the rich and giving to the poor. You're taking from the poor to trick off and to look like you got money on Instagram. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. It's sick. And, I don't, at this point, I'm going to continue to write about this because I feel like it is a perfect example of what's wrong with, thank you, of what's wrong with the reality TV culture. Like all these girls, flossing and Rolls Royces and all that. Like this is, money is, the Bible says money is the root of all evil. And I used to wonder, what that meant. Because it's like, well, why would it be bad to have money, right? But what it does to people and the type of jealousy and the type, thank you, Max. I appreciate that, especially from a guy. Appreciate that. What money makes people do is is where that root of all evil comes from, right? Because to want to show that you are your value, the love of money, absolutely. Thank you for that, Casey. The love of money, but to be at that place where you are willing to do anything and to use anyone just to, and you got to remember, all these things are fleeting. So when you get on that supposed private plane, you guys know the private plane thing. There are people that have fake private planes. They reach out to me as a publicist because I used to have a lot of high level celebrity clients, right? And they reach out and they say, hey, your client wants to do something. They can participate in this program where they can pay a certain amount of money and they can always have a private jet at their their disposal, right? It's a ridiculous membership, right? And most people can't afford it. So what a lot of people do is go take pictures at a fake in a fake private plane. Bow Wow, exactly. Bow Wow did the Bow Wow special. So it's like, so once we see Christian getting on the private jet and coming off with the Louboutin or whatever, then what? You got to do something else. You got to do something else. So that money is gonna. It's like a drug habit. It's gonna keep you coming back because you always got to outdo someone. Those of you that are on social media, that see things like have you noticed like some of the girls that are supposed to have all this money, right? I'm not gonna name any names, but I know a lot of them, right? And they're supposed to have all this money. And at first it was like, I'm a millionaire. Like, but for a while, like 10 years ago, it was a big deal to make $1 million. Now we've realized $1 million can be spent and you could end up broke, after having $1 million really easily. So now I hear people saying that they're multimillionaires. And now I even hear people saying they're billionaires. First of all, there are only a few billionaires in the world. And so some of these people on social media have gotten their lies they lie so well, I think they believe it. And unfortunately, there are some of us that are buying into it and following them and swearing by them. And it's sad. And I hope this situation, I hope that he goes to jail. I hope if they can prove that if she was involved, she should go to jail too. I don't wish that upon her, but he needs to go to jail for what he's done, right? Yes, they're saying they're billionaires. I'm like, child, I'm not, but see, you got to be you got to know who you are. You got to know who you are, because if you don't know who you are, you will believe all this foolishness out here and you'll be out here feeling bad about yourself because you're just earning an honest living. Meanwhile, the people with all this stuff are scamming and lying. Just saying, scamming and freaking lying. So that is my wrap up. I will be back because I'm going to do another deep dive, another deep dive into this case because he's going to court on September 6th here in Atlanta. Shouts out again to Simone Red Wine for that. Watch that interview. I mean, watch that on her channel because it's really good, but it's really sad. But thank God that she is someone that understands the law and is able to kind of break it down for all of us. And thank God that she offered to represent those women for pro bono. So shouts out to her, and I hope she gets a big check from it. I hope she gets a big check for doing the right thing and for speaking out. I love Simone because if one thing Simone gonna do is tell it like a T.I. is, as my granny would say. And on that note, I'm gonna tell it like it is, and I'm gonna tell you guys to please, first of all, thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. I will be doing this each week, talking about different articles. I'm going to be talking about the Braxtons next week. And also, of course, we'll be following up on the Jennifer Williams story. I also am going to be talking about the Netflix special, Worst Ex Ever, that just shocked me. If you haven't watched it, try to watch it, and we're going to chat about it next week. There are 4 episodes, and it is scary. It will make you afraid to date. It will make you want to just find a peaceful place and live it out with your dog or your cats because it's crazy. But definitely going to be talking about that and so much more. You guys know I will be back tomorrow night with my co-host Scorpio Mo, and we are going to be talking about Love and Marriage Huntsville, which I'll probably get into that next week on Pop Culture Power too. But Love and Marriage Huntsville, which is wild. These ladies are wilding out. Melody is here for it. Y'all hear me? Melody is here for it. I want Melody to be an executive producer and be like Shawnee at this point. I want her to go be like Shawnee because she is down here with these girls. She done brought her girlfriend, Shanita Foster, in, and they are serving it to these ladies. You hear me? So tune in tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. If you didn't check out the interview I did with Christina and Brandon from Love and Marriage Detroit that came on earlier tonight on this channel, make sure you watch that before you watch the premiere of Love and Marriage Detroit, because it will definitely be recapping that as well. But again, thank you to all my XOs that hung out with me tonight: Tamasha, Marriott, Sunny Rain, KC, Popcorn, Angelo, Riley. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching from Facebook. That's what's up. KC, I said, D, everybody that watched tonight, thank you so much. I'm back on my Pop Culture Power. We got to keep doing this. And I will see you guys tomorrow night right here. If you watch on Facebook, I'll be here again on Facebook. 10 o'clock tomorrow. We are doing relationship recap on Love and Marriage Huntsville and Family Empire. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern. All right. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.